this time it will work. So just moving to share my screen again. Okay, welcome everyone. Several different technical issues there, but hopefully we are working now. You can't see me, but you can see the screen. And welcome to the third in our LAPADA webinar social media series, where we're looking at YouTube and then Pinterest. Starting with YouTube, as the behemoth, as we saw looking at those stats at the beginning of this set of sessions, YouTube is one of the two gorillas in the market, along with Facebook, and sees sort of equal numbers of people using it on a monthly basis, but in slightly different ways. So, I mean, obviously you'll all be familiar with the layout of it and the way it presents content to you, both based on the people that you have subscribed to on the left-hand side, but also YouTube, as with all the other platforms, it has its own algorithm where it is suggesting content to people based on their habits, based on the videos that they've watched a lot of, and in particular the videos that they've liked, commented, and then shared to other places. YouTube is used for different kinds of content, whereas both Instagram and Facebook are much more about that sort of immediate broadcast of content that's going to have potentially quite a short lifetime. YouTube actually has a mixture of that kind of quick, fast content that we call your buzz content, or brand content, or awareness content, and then some content that will sit there, potentially for years and years, and continue to get picked up in search. So YouTube is actually the second biggest search engine after Google. And of course, YouTube is owned by Google, so YouTube is integrated with Google. So they're working together. So that is also why YouTube video content is the main video content that you will get delivered when you are looking on Google itself. So it's really important, both to use YouTube, to be found by people who are looking for things. So people looking, there's a lot of sort of how-to content, within YouTube, which may or may not be relevant, but certainly people looking for inspiration and information. And it's a great space to deliver and show your credibility, as well as authenticity and personality, and showing off, the space that you might have, be that your art gallery, or indeed your antiques, shop, store, auction house, whatever that looks like. What's interesting is that lots of the content that comes up when you're searching, particularly around antiques, is quite old, so it does show that content will continue to have that value over a long period of time. As I say, lots of utility style content. But that utility style content, even if you are teaching someone to say restore something which might be part of what you offer, actually you're just drawing people in. This here looks like a really nice, actually, brand film, just sort of setting the scene for something. Going to have a look at the sort of anatomy of a YouTube channel in a second. But we can see already that here, this one is really nicely laid out. So they are got a very nice use of the cover image, across the top. They have got their name very clearly as their username. You can also see what's called the vanity URL across the top there. So Gilboys itself was not available, so they chose Gilboys1 as a close approximation of that, which is a good idea. They've got 11,000 subscribers, so those subscribers will be shown, in that feed on their homepage, every time they launch a new video. This space here is the sort of the feature video trailer space. We'll go in and we'll have a look at just how to set up the channel appropriately, but you can change this video for new visitors to show them, say, a brand piece or a sort of trailer, for your offering as a whole, or for returning visitors, it's a good idea to show them a more recent piece of content, to keep their interest. There are, as I say, lots of how-to here. Again, as a search facility, how to do something is a very, very common search that you see, particularly where you're getting into special interest areas. So they've got a lot of content here. How to strip and French polish wood furniture, so sort of upkeep of antiques furniture there. 407,000 views you've garnered over 2 years. So really powerful stuff. And then the other thing that you've got here is Simon Gilboy himself, actually sort of sharing his expertise, showing his studio, his workshop, and just delivering that level of credibility and expertise, as I say. So that's very powerful to kind of show who you're going to be dealing with and why you should trust them, as well as the content itself, if you like. And also, as with Facebook and Instagram, people will be sort of checking in on your presence. If they have got some kind of interest, having come across you somewhere else, YouTube is another space where they might just check in and see how you're getting on. So this is one of the YouTube channels that we run, which is a sort of lifestyle culture magazine for Europe. Once you get onto your page, so actually just to say there are a couple of options from that navigation which you get to from the icon in the top right, as I'm sure you will have seen. YouTube Studio is actually where you create and upload your content. Your channel, that's how the quickest way to actually sort of see what other people are seeing when they get there. And then you can go straight to settings here, which is obviously the more sort of background and logistical information. But actually, if you just go to your channel, if you're logged in with the right account, you have the opportunity to go to customize. And this is where you do that kind of layout. So this is where obviously you can adjust your cover image and your profile picture. And as before, on Facebook and Instagram, you want to be having your identity very obvious there, because whenever any content from YouTube is being shared, that's what's going to be shared alongside it. And there's a lot of embedding obviously that goes on with YouTube content, as well as social sharing. So literally you can see there you've got returning subscribers and new visitors, and then the opportunity to edit that here. So that wants to be your featured piece of content, essentially. So the freshest but the most comprehensive and convincing piece of content about what you've got to offer. And then you have the opportunity to choose what else you're showing first. So you've got different playlists. So playlists, is probably the most important and structural feature of YouTube, because it's how you organize your content. And as I say, because content is sitting on YouTube and much more visible, for a much longer period of time than on other platforms, playlists are how you organize that content in order to, show off your wares, if you like. Now, because this particular channel has a large variety of different kinds of topic on it, we actually have creative playlists across the top. So that's just showing, it's not just music and festivals, it's also lifestyle, travel, sports, and then even sort of fashion, beauty, and well-being. So it's instantly giving people, a feel of the variety and allowing them to click straight to that. But if we wanted to say, actually, music and festivals are the most important and interesting, so literally you can just flip those up and down. Then the other thing to play around with within here, you can flip it so it goes vertically instead of horizontally. And you can also even sort of post several playlists, within that. I'm just looking for. So that's a summary of all the playlists that they've got on this particular channel. Just going to click into Costa Stories. So that then will be the latest to come from this particular playlist, which has got its own sort of identity, within this channel. So this gives a very quick kind of overview of what this is about, which is music on the Costa del Sol. And then very quickly, from there, what you want to be doing is introducing what the content, of that film is going to be. So that's kind of setting the scene, for a particular concert that's happening. Actually, just looking for a more recent one. Essentially, you've got kind of two key options in terms of grabbing people's attention. Once they're in your environment or once they've seen, been exposed to one of your videos, and that is the thumbnail and then the first 5 to 8 seconds. So that's what you're looking to kind of optimize against. Is making sure that for an electronic dance music fan, it's telling you exactly what it is and kind of showing you that specialist access that they've got here. And then very quickly, he says, and is showing off, the venue itself, hashtag for wider social sharing, and just trying to basically tease people within that first 8-10 seconds, about the kind of content that they're going to get, be that informative, be that entertainment, or be that some kind of utility film. So the other thing that you can do within here is either set it by most popular or by most recent. So you see there, that's basically a credibility video. That's saying, okay, this video, with a sort of very specific kind of DJ, not everyone will know. If you know him, you appreciate his music probably, has had 12,000 views. These are exclusive interviews. So this is a channel worth subscribing to, and that's what you're trying to get. Is that subscription value. Just going to switch to a different channel here. So one that's essentially sort of slightly more relevant to arts and antiques. So let's go to. So this is where it can get a little bit confusing, running on multiple accounts. Okay, and that's now frozen. So in which case, let's just show it as the user will see it. So learning with experts that we sort of looked at, in the other 2 episodes that we've had so far. So we don't actually have a trailer for the channel yet. That's being worked on at the moment. So what we're leading with, is a combination of the most recent and the most appealing films. And again, just trying to show the breadth and depth, that we've got within this channel, and then dropping straight into the playlists, to continue that. So if you are more interested in food and drink or floristry, you can go straight there. So we've featured the gardening across the top, and then gardening is the first full playlist here. And then again, we've got popular uploads, which is a great option for playlists. If you've got a range of content, that again is a little bit older, you can show the most popular over time. And that one, just about building a treehouse, so it taps into, so the aspirational value combined with some of that utility, that functionality. The other thing to be aware of, if you're trying to change the settings for your YouTube channel and struggling, is that actually it is linked to your Google account. So you actually need to go through to myaccount.google.com. We'll share that as one of the links afterwards. And that's where you can change, both the profile picture, but also everything else, including the username. So it's logged in as me, but so if you're struggling to change, in particular that vanity URL, then that's where to do it. And you can also get there through the settings tab. So looking at the sort of that settings background, which again we get to via that top right icon, and then just clicking on settings. Sorry, my computer's overloading itself now. So this will display your content and your dashboard. I'm not going to click out of that in case it freezes again, but this is the most important bit, obviously. This is where you've got a very quick insight, as to how your content is performing. And this is where you align, your activity, what content you're uploading, but also your paid activations. So you can see that actually, this content that was uploaded this point here, 16th of March, has performed really well. Actually had a relatively short lifespan. So it might be worth what that's suggesting to a smaller channel like this one, is that those initial subscribers have seen it, have liked it potentially, and then that point here is the point at which you start promoting it. And then if you just want more information as to what's driving that, so there you go, 16th of March, message in a bottle dance show. And then you've also got some information about how much of the video people are watching. As we were talking about with Facebook last week, actually you can afford to go a little bit longer with a lot of this content. This one's a relatively short one. So a minute and a half is ideal, unless you are showing that expertise or telling a deeper story. And you can see actually that's paid off. There's 62% view duration, so 62% people, the average person is getting more than halfway through that film, which is really good actually for YouTube. And then again, OBAG is fashion film, 65% there, whereas this one, Camille Charrière, it's an interview, it's got longer than some of those quick pieces, and as a result, that duration is going down a bit. But that's not to say it's not valuable, because that's much longer video. So if you look at the amount of time they are still spending on your channel with your content, that's still a decent amount of time essentially. And then we'll also just pick out your latest content and just give you a very quick snapshot of how many views you're getting, and that overall consumption level. And then you can play around with the date range, or click into any videos within that. And then the other thing obviously to keep an eye on is just if people are coming through with comments, questions, and just making sure that anyone that's got any questions, in particular if you're offering a service, or trying to get people into your store or gallery, that you are responding to them here, and even just liking and responding to content. Just encourages people. Again, it's about nurturing that community. So I mentioned promoting things, within YouTube. So you actually do that within Google. So you go to ads.google.com and then you sign in with the right account, linked to that YouTube channel. This looks quite overwhelming at first, but actually in lots of ways it's a lot clearer than Facebook's in particular. And also they've got a much better guide to how to run adverts than Facebook does. So they're a lot sort of clearer on what you should be doing. Just to give you a sort of quick kind of overview, mostly what we recommend are what are called Trueview ads. So Trueview ads, you only pay for the amount of people that are actually watching. So these are the ads that are pre-roll, so they're shown before a piece of content that you've actually chosen to watch, and that's where they show you just 6 seconds of content and then give you the option to skip that. So you actually only pay for a view if people don't skip it and watch at least 30 seconds of it. So it's a really nice quality metric. And it means that you're also getting wider exposure from those people that have seen 6 seconds. That essentially is a free exposure for you. The other thing that you can do is what is called a bumper ad, which is we've got some, so you can sort of see. I'll share this link with you afterwards. So the bumper ad is just 6 seconds and allows you, just to have 6 seconds of just like, bang, here's my message. Come and visit us. We've got a new exhibition launching. Come and see us. Wherever we are. And again, we'll look at targeting in a second, but lots of options for targeting people by interest and location, as we've got with YouTube. The other thing that you can do within this is actually sort of set either a cost per view or a target for cost per 1,000 people that you are reaching. So just allowing you to sort of control that exposure. And as you can see here, so CPV, cost per view here, actually, if you've got good content that's targeted to relevant audiences, it can be incredibly cheap. Back in the day, sort of early to mid noughties, you were paying 25 pence, 30 pence, to pay for someone to watch your film. Whereas these days, if it's good content, as I say, you can be paying 1-2 pence, if you're doing very well, or even less sometimes. Just talk you through the dashboard very quickly. So the campaigns like Facebook, is your overall, activity. Ad groups, again, is your audiences where you set those up. And then in this case, because we're just running video ads, ads and videos are essentially interchangeable. You can do paid search, obviously through the Google Ads platform as well, but that's not something that we're looking at today. So once you're in, either campaigns as a whole, or actually if you've already got a campaign going, you just want to create a new ad, within ads and extensions, you just click new campaign. Again, you can just be looking for that kind of exposure and reach, which is the same as video views. If possible, you want to be going for website traffic. It's a separate pixel, so it's a separate bit of code that you need to be tracking through YouTube and Google. But again, it's very simple. And if you haven't set it up already, literally as soon as you hit that button, it will open up the code that you need and tell you where to put it. So if you have someone looking after your website for you, or if you do it yourself, you can literally can copy and paste that code from that place. And then here, you've got the sort of full gamut of Google Ads available to you, but video, being the one that we're looking at today. As I say, conversions, slightly more sophisticated. Like actually, video is better at just driving the traffic and the views as a whole, but you can track through to sale if you've got a big full e-commerce setup. So then, so it just has called it video conversions, sorry, so you name it something relevant, and then generally you will be going for maximize conversions. Target cost per acquisition is where you say, right, okay, I want to actually be getting sales through, and I want to pay a certain amount for those sales, but that starts to get quite technical. So we're just saying, maximize conversions to our website. You can set a daily amount, or you can set a total, budget amount, depending on whether it's going to be finite or you just want it running, ongoing. And then, like with Facebook, you've got the option of it just appearing within YouTube, or indeed going on the display network as well. And this is not allowing us come up with search because we've gone for traffic. But if you're just going for views, then you can have that as well. And then again, you can specify within here your locations, but actually just by country level at that point. And then standard inventory, essentially, so inventory is the amount of options they've got to show your ad. So within mobile and desktop, and then also against what other kinds of content. So generally, sort of standard is what you go for. Expanded, you then run that risk of potentially being shown against some other videos that might not be suitable for different reasons. So yeah, standard should get you just shown against unoffensive videos, essentially that have been chosen, by you in this next point. So demographics, you can then choose male, female, by age, by parental status, and then not for the UK, but if you're targeting within the US, you can actually set a household income level. And some other countries as well. This is where it gets interesting. So it's where we're talking about keywords and audiences. So this is where you're starting to look for people that actually have a genuine interest in what you've got to offer. So audiences are done by behaviors. So people that have looked for antiques or arts in their previous activity, not just within YouTube, because this is Google, so it's actually within Google searches as well. And then what you've got here is different kinds of audience. So you've got your affinity audiences, who are your people who have a really strong interest in that particular topic. And then you have what's called in-market audiences. In-market audiences are people that have been looking, for potential purchase-related keywords. Not just looking for fine art, but fine art, to purchase. Potentially, so definitely bringing that in. Obviously not things like arts and crafts supplies, education and so on. So that's all that's coming up, within there. Then you might broaden that slightly and say, what gallery, see what that comes up with. And then sometimes you'll be able to click into these and actually get very specific. And then YouTube will also start giving you some references based on what you've done in the past, and then give you that option, just to look at everything they've got available in terms of affinity audiences, and then custom audiences, again, where you're uploading actual data. So you don't want to go for lifestyles and hobbies as a whole. As I say, you can open these up and then specify, from within here, if there's someone, there's a group that you think. So depending on the kind of art that you are looking at, actually fashionistas, could be relevant there. Definitely, art and theatre aficionados, could be a crossover, with your audience. So you want to have 4 or 5, of these on the right hand side in your audiences, and then you also specify by keywords and topics. Keywords and topics are what people are actually looking for, either within the YouTube environment or the Google environment. So if we say art gallery within here, and then we might have artist, and we might have modern art, and you will have some idea, from your website activity, hopefully, of your overall keywords. Now, the other thing, that you might do to sort of superpower this process is to look for a URL to bring in. So Maddox Gallery, just because actually Maddox Gallery got my attention through Instagram, so now I've got that interest, so I'm bringing them in. So you can actually literally look at what Google is showing, or how Google is responding and showing Maddox Gallery to people as they are searching within YouTube. And then you can literally click those one at a time. If it feels like they are all relevant, which, to be honest, from a very initial scan looks like they are, all of a sudden, that's filled in, a decent amount of my keyword list. Topics is where people are looking again around kind of broader areas. So if you've got your audience who are interested in arts and entertainment, and then you're also hitting them when they are looking for that kind of content, then it starts to be incredibly powerful. This is where you're getting shown that content where maybe you don't even realize, but you're like, actually, this is really well targeted to my interests. So art museums and galleries, design, maybe painting, maybe sculpture, maybe photography, as applicable, but lots of different options. And actually, the more specific you can be at this point, the more targeted obviously it will be. So it depends on how broad that piece of content or your current promotion is looking like. And then to be honest, like with Facebook, I generally leave placement targeting up to them, because they will optimize it the best. But if you don't want it to be shown say on mobile because you think it's going to be restrictive, you just want it shown within YouTube, then you can select those options instead. And then finally, you literally just take your piece of content here. So if we're going for Amelia Singer, promoting her wine course, copy and paste within here, and then immediately you can see what that ad's going to look like. And then this is the key bit. So where do you want people to go? Remembering they're already on YouTube, and remembering we're optimizing for clicks. So we're going to go into Learning with Experts. And this is the important bit with all of your social ads, is not to just drop people onto the homepage. If you've been talking to them about a specific course, that is where you want to send them. You want to give them that deep link. And just as we looked at, I think with Facebook last week, that is an ugly URL. And okay, it's going to be cut off, on mobile at least, but you can essentially get that to say whatever you like. We tend to do, because we're expert led, is actually use the expert's name at that point. And then you've got different calls to action. So it might be purchase, it might be visit, it might be just learn more is nice and generic, and appealing. It's not a hard sell. And then your headline is what comes across the top. So it's taken Learning with Experts. Automatically type introduction to wine. So you haven't actually got very much space there. Actually, it's restricting you to 15 characters. So yeah, just for the sake of now, intro to wine. That's not particularly convincing, is it? But yeah, we could improve that. And then you just find that image and pull it in, or you can upload your own there. And finally, just name that, create it, and bang, goes into the Google approval process. And then generally within 24 hours, your ad is live and starts delivering and starts coming up, in those data sets that we were looking at before. Yeah, that's a very quick romp through YouTube. Now let's see if we can just check in on any comments. Your sound is off, cannot hear you. I hope that's not the case. Can someone just confirm that they can hear me? I've not just been talking to an empty room. Graham raises his hand. Thanks, Graham. Anybody else having problems hearing me? Presumably, if there's still 21 of you listening, then you're hearing something. Okay. Any questions on that YouTube activity? Otherwise, we'll move on to Pinterest, and then we will have time for any more questions at the end. Okay, great. Sounds fun. Thanks, Roman. Good. All right. Glad to know that. It's not been all entirely wasted. Right. So Pinterest. So I will confess that Pinterest is not my home environment. I stopped pinning probably about 5 years ago, but that's not to say it's not enormously powerful. It's just to say that with so many channels to activate on. Sometimes you need to choose your focus. So this where it drops you in immediately, which is the business hub. What we're more interested in is just that is the profile page as a whole. So Pinterest, like YouTube, is not just sort of obviously very visually led, but has that longevity. So is very much about posterity of content and about kind of curation, of content as much as anything. Again, you've got this lovely big space across the top that you need to take advantage of for people that are clicking through to your home environment. What we're seeing very quickly here is that we're getting potentially a much bigger exposure than we are on other channels. So yes, we've been running ads for Learning with Experts on here, but not to the extent that we would expect to be getting 1 million viewers a month on that. So there's a lot of people within Pinterest spending a lot of time. So browsing between profiles is more prolific probably than any other channel. And then also this idea of the repin and sort of sharing other people's content, enormously powerful. And then the other thing that you've got here is the special interest groups. So Learning with Experts started off as gardening. So actually a lot of their deeper content is in gardening, and gardening along with home decor and interior design is one of the sort of key areas that Pinterest does incredibly well in. So the other thing that Pinterest does very well in is website traffic. So you'll see again, certainly organically, but even in terms of paid, it is a higher performing channel to get people from the position at which they're looking at your content, and through, to actually clicking through and exploring your website. Seeing there that actually these days video also incredibly powerful, along with not just your standard image as a post, but also the opportunity for a carousel. So if you want to showcase multiple images, but within one post, you can do that. Generally, actually, it's nice to use up the board space. Apologies. So then what you've also got within here is the categories. So not just organizing by board, but having kind of sub channels within here. So if we go in, we're seeing a combination of that sort of high level content, which is the trailers for the courses themselves, and then more of that kind of hygiene content, which is grouped around quite niche areas of interest and expertise. And this here is, as I say, much more about the kind of curation leading to inspiration, and then some utility coming in there in terms of how to as well. And this can be really powerful, and actually is worth considering if there are sort of non-competing other galleries or antiques dealers, to actually combine and collaborate on a board. Because if you're all contributing to a central board, actually you can see start to get very good traction here. So 20,000 ones on this about urban gardening. So that's another thing very much to consider. And again, you can just literally drag these around, say, right, okay, as long as you don't drag it into another board. It's Easter coming up. We want to focus on our new chocolate expert, Paul A. Young, and his course. So let's push that up to the top alongside our experts and our trailers. Again, just the anatomy of when you're uploading content here. There are certain sort of specifications that you need to follow. You want your title, to be eye-catching, if you like, and convincing, but also to be coming up within search. Let's see. Sorry, my computer is still struggling to do anything. So I'm sure you can imagine me dropping a picture of a lovely bouquet there, but it's say, Easter floral arrangement. So then immediately, create a beautiful bouquet for the Easter table, for example. So actually you're getting straight in there, Easter. So all of those searches coming up as people are preparing, their well, hopefully some people are still able to meet up for a real world, Easter Sunday, potentially not. Actually thinking about it, as I say, you were talking about search, people are actually probably more likely to say flower arrangement. So changing it to, again, for accessibility. And then again, putting that deep link in. So if we had a course, specifically around that Easter bouquet, that's where we're going to drop it. And then, just specifying, either which of your existing boards you're going to pin that to, or creating a new one there. Again, lots of different options within Pinterest, for those ads. So we go into ads. And again, you can either be choosing, for brand awareness, just people seeing your pins, your videos, or actually you're trying to actually get them to your home environment, which is the ideal. And similarly, you are choosing your budget up front, obviously. And then when you're getting through, into your targeting, you are getting those similar options, but bespoke, to the Pinterest environment. Body art, potentially not coming up so prominently in other channels, but getting quite specific quite quickly. So again, depending on what you are looking to offer, within that, within your ad, you can be choosing either directly from these drop downs, or searching, within the search functionality. And it's not just about those interests. So again, interests are where people have indicated they're interested in something through past behaviors. Keywords are where people are looking for something right now. And then sort of showing your content alongside the organic results. Slightly fewer options for demographic targeting, but still, gender, ages, and then specific locations, within countries or whole countries. Again, I would go for all, within ad groups, ad group tracking URLs. So that's where if you are creating a specific URL for tracking through social, but thinking probably actually just seeing that it's come from social is enough for your activities. Expanding your targeting, is just where Pinterest is giving you that option, to reach out to more people. Again, depends how much you trust Pinterest, how well that's been doing. how well it's delivered for you in the past. And then you can just go in and choose previous ads to promote. I think that is it within Pinterest as well. Just like with Facebook, actually gives you a better indication than YouTube of your potential audience size. So you want to be essentially, going for hundreds of thousands or the low millions in there. Like 8 million is a massive amount. That's probably all the active pinners within the UK. So a few 100,000 is the maximum you probably want to be going for. Good. Right. Any questions on any of that? Great. Is it possible to take it off? Yeah, absolutely. Literally. If you just go into your boards, if you go into the board and hit that specific pin, there'll be a cross in the top right that you can just click to delete it. Or you can delete a whole board. And it's good to go in and clean things up a little bit. Literally, we saw that there's quite a lot of activity within Learning with Experts, for example, and it's good to have up to say 20-25 boards, but many more than that, unless they are very specialist, and you're starting to sort of lose people and it'd be overkill, and potentially actually Learning with Experts could do with a bit more tidying up. What happens with searches? So Google spiders basically go out every sort of 10 days, 2 weeks roughly, and do a scroll of more or less the whole internet. And so stuff might come up in searches for 1 or 2 weeks, but as soon as the robots have gone around and seen that piece of content is no longer there, it should scrub it out from the searches moving forwards. Video on iPhone. So Simon's asking on the largest file size. You should be able to go longer if you upgrade. Certainly at 15 minutes, you should be able to exceed that. If not, just breaking it up into 2 or 3 parts, can be better for performance anyway. Because YouTube likes to see people watching a lot of the content, so it will show more people your content if more people are watching, a greater percentage of it. Let me look into that, Simon. We'll drop that on the email follow-up and see if there's a recommended way around that, though. Great. Any more questions? No? Fantastic. So in which case, we'll see you back here next week. I'm actually thinking we might split the last 2 sessions. So instead of covering everything next week, we'll just do Twitter and LinkedIn, and then leave Medium and Quora to add to search at the end. So Twitter and LinkedIn next week. Thanks a lot for your time. Sorry for the technical issues, and stay safe. Hope you're keeping sane.